on his anniversary day.
See how the picks and bans start off here for Rocks Tigers versus Afreeca. Right now they're highlighting the Rumble. There's Ilavuv.
With a cool haircut today. Cool hairstyle. Usually he goes for just his hair down. We're going to change things up.
LeBlanc being banned away by Afreeca. We are on 7.4, so this isn't the patch that broke LeBlanc's back just yet. Rocks now banning away Ash from Kramer. Afreeca bans Camille, and now Rocks with that final Malzahar ban from blue side. Don't want to give away the red side Malzahar. This is looking like it's going to set up for Graves to be first picked for Rocks.
As is the way of things nowadays. The days of first pick Rengar are gone.
Well, Graves found a cigar, so, oh.
Ooh.
Hovering Gragas.
Really? No, they switched to Rengar.
They heard us.
I'm going to prove that. Okay. It will be the Graves. Just trolling a bit or just thinking over their picks.
And so now Afreeca highlighting Nautilus. And what will they accompany that with? They could just get their jungler out of the way. Lulu gets locked in with the Nautilus, so a lot of synergy right there. Now it's handed back over to Rocks. They're highlighting a Shen right now. So we have to wonder if they're just going to go for some power picks early on and delay their bottom lane.
No.
Yasuo's being highlighted.
Really? Mickey's giving us the yes as he bounces in his chair. It's not going to be Yasuo.
Gets swapped away from Yasuo, so it doesn't look like we're going to get anything too exciting. Yasuo is actually buffed in the following patch. Very slightly through the mastery changes, but other stuff as well. And now Afreeca, after Zyra was locked in for Rocks, now Afreeca is actually highlighting a Rengar, and that's a little bit counterproductive in a way. Rocks' team composition is already set up to be extremely effective against Afreeca's. A little curious to wonder why they would elect to pick Rengar there instead of something like Elise. Now Afreeca bans away Ahri, and Rocks looks like they're going to begin to target Kuro in the mid lane. Kuro's worst champion statistically so far this split, relative to the amount of games that he's played, is the Orianna, and it does look like Afreeca's team composition is setting up for an Orianna pick.
Definitely looks that way. Another thing we have to mention is that Mighty Bear is in the lineup here for Rocks. So hasn't had the best performance so far. We'll see if he can redeem himself tonight. Going up against a guy like Spirit. Does pick up the Graves. And there's that Rise. Looking to be banned here by Rocks. Once again targeting Kuro. Always got to target the guy who's on his anniversary.
So we'll see what Afreeca wants to do here. They need a mobile champion of some sorts, and there it is, the Ezreal. They can't have everything be just a frontline engage with a static backline like Jhin. But that does mean that now the Rocks Tigers, who they can be an immovable wall, they have the luxury of that defensive Shen, the fact that Graves is going to get out of control in extended fights. They easily can just turtle with the Jhin if they do elect to lock him in here for Songyun. Now we need to see what the final champion will be for the Tigers and their hovering Syndra. Hopes and dreams, Brendan. Just went down the toilet.
Well, I mean, it worked for Samsung.
Yeah, well, the champion scales the worse, or the bigger the gap between the teams, the better the champion is, but it's so no theme in the current meta that eventually it just hits a spike and she feels like she's on a timing. Yes, she deals abnormal amounts of damage, but if both teams are playing properly, it's gonna be leaving much to be desired. There's a lot of other mid laners that they probably could have picked up in this spot. Could have even taken away the Orianna from Afreeca that you knew fit so perfectly into Afreeca's team composition. And so it's another, I don't even know what to say about it, the pick, but Orianna for Afreeca. So they have a very nice ball comp set up for them, and then with that highly flexible Ezreal, it's going to be very difficult to tie him down, and so he's going to be the real key to the puzzle in the extended fights, as he's going to be the one that can actually answer to Graves or Syndra and weasel his way into the backline eventually.
Barrier on Orianna, deciding against the exhaust. Just wants to eat the combo, probably build some magic resist too. Just sit on that.
We're about to jump into game number 2 here. We'll have one last look at the team compositions, but this is going to be a scaling versus burst type scenario where Shen, Graves, Syndra, Jhin, and Zyra will try to weather the storm of the mid game, and if they can do that, they'll probably get into a very good position. And on the flip side, Afreeca with the Nautilus, Rengar, Orianna, Ezreal, and Lulu. Again, they're going to be looking for a very big mid-game explosion, and the only out that they have is going to be inside of that Ezreal.
Well, we'll see if they can make it work here. You guys get one last look at the skins. Now we're going to jump into game number 1, Rocks Tigers versus the Afreeca Freecs.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
I think Afreeca won that one. Generally, the team that's doing better in the split will have more fans at the studio.
미니언 생성까지 30초
Well,
남았습니다.
the Kongdu monster has left the building too, so that might be one of the main reasons the cheers were not as big. Again, if you're just joining us, it is the 4th anniversary for Kuro. That's a pretty big day for pro gamers. Most people don't even necessarily make it that long in esports, in Korea anyway.
Someone like Kuro
생성되었습니다.
has had a lot of success across the board. So it makes sense that he's been around for a long time. Generally, you don't quit while you're doing well. Very curious to see how Mighty Bear is going to do. I mean, he was essentially gifted the Graves with the first pick on blue side.
He certainly has the matchup in his favor. But it is a blue side Graves, and against the Nautilus up there, it's going to be a little bit difficult to coordinate ganks if he fails it early on. Once Nautilus gets 6, it'll prove to be very difficult to do anything, but I think that Mighty Bear does have the luxury of just being able to power farm, because again, the onus is on Spirit to somehow make stuff happen early on anyway, to accelerate his team into that mid game where they're going to be strongest.
I don't like using that Orianna skin because whenever the ball goes through minions, it sounds like a back ping.
What?
Confuses me. It does. Hold on. Wow, Kramer doing a ton of damage to Songyun, nearly forcing him back, but he actually, Kramer ate a turret shot. And so Songyun will stick around. No vision on Mighty Bear right now. They do drop down a ward into the Tri-Brush.
Really big victory, though, for Afreeca in bottom. And now we can see that Spirit is getting very low. does manage to live. We don't get a peek at him, but you can see his HP bar. He's finally going to recall, and this is the timing where Mighty Bear now, he moves on to the left-hand side of his map, and this would be the perfect opportunity for him to clear out his jungle and attempt to gank top lane around level 4, level 5. And then after that, he's not going to have much success after it, but unfortunately for him, he's on a ward.
Perfect timing there from Marin to go in there, use the scrying plant, and spot him out. He knows the timings. Nice lock up here onto Kramer. Oh, and even eats that grenade. So now it's Kramer's pretty low, but then again, they still have 4 summoners compared to the 2 of Rocks, and he has both of them.
Meanwhile, in mid and top, not too much of a difference in CS. In bottom lane, though, that's really where Afreeca is getting pretty big advantage that is slowly mounting up. We'll just see what Kramer does on his recall here, if he just opts for a call or not. No, he just picks up the call, or the tier instead of the call.
Doesn't want to build that up fast. Taking a look in mid lane. Just Farm City right now. A bit of poke onto Kuro, but still has a biscuit. Still potion on Mickey. Pretty standard there for now. Up in top, I mean, as you were saying, there's some opportunity early on in the game for some ganks to come in, but once those guys get very tanky, it's really just going to be about teleport plays, Shy going for stand uniteds, stuff like that.
Basically, Shy's ultimate early on should most likely just be used defensively unless they're going to set up some sort of bottom lane play. But that would require Songyun and Ki to also both be level 6. And so until then, I would just expect Mighty Bear to continuously power farm and look for opportunities on Spirit like this one.
And they do get that max range root. Overcomes Mickey. And Spirit actually flashes. Not sure if he had to do that. But either way, does survive. Spotted on a ward himself.
A little bit of an advantage picked up right there. Kramer and Tushin looking to roam mid lane maybe. But instead just find themselves a control ward, pick that up. That's all right, as they had the wave in a relatively good spot. They know that it's going to bounce back to them. They're going to be able to play defensive down there with that tier. Tushin taking quite a lot of damage right there, but Afreeca actually going to get a nice chunk of gold off those plants.
Wish we could get a look at mid lane right now. Mickey just hit 6 as did Kuro. And we do have Spirit making his way towards mid because Mickey on the Syndra, he's been pushing quite a bit. You can see Spirit looks like he was spotted on a ward though. Marin making his way down, just a little bit down the river. Looking for some action. Mighty Bear gonna be spotted here. Places his own ward.
Right now, Spirit has level 6, so if he's going to want to look to do something, he would probably want to do so soon, as Kuro, his mana is getting relatively low in mid, and if he uses too much more of it, he wouldn't have any available to him if Spirit wanted to come mid onto Mickey.
You can already see a bit of a CS gap beginning to form in the mid lane as Kuro, he's just being shoved in so hard, and as you were saying, it looks like he was saving a bit of his mana for a while, and he was losing out on some farm, but now he begins to try to farm a bit. Spirit's hanging around, but Mighty Bear is here as well.
The problem for Spirit right now is he has no intel on what lies on the other side of the river, and if you just look at the vision control on the mini-map, if Spirit does commit onto Mickey and Mighty Bear would just be waiting in the fog of war, things would get absolutely horrible right now, especially because he doesn't have Flash available to him, and you also have to respect the Stand United from Shy. Things could get turned around very quickly, and that can easily be converted into either a lot of turret damage on mid-tier 1 or even a Mountain Drake capture.
And you can see that was definitely part of the reason why they were playing it a bit careful in mid. It seems like finally Kuro will be able to back, unless Mighty Bear wants to cancel it. Interesting, they keep him here.
It's the long wait.
Yeah.
Just wait a second. Just let it happen.
Oh,
Brendan.
let's wait like a minute for Orianna to come back mid.
You know, sometimes that's actually okay as a play because it's so bad it's good.
When you get to the highest level, you got to do stuff that they would never expect. Especially if they respect you. They're like, okay, they're good enough, they would never do a play like that.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a team in League of Legends history that's actually like won games like that pretty consistently? Where they just do like crazy dumb stuff and they just win over and over because of it? It's like, we're going to wait in this bush for like 2 minutes as a jungler, and they just get something, you know, a kill, and then they convert that into something bigger.
You know, not that they're bad by any means, but I mean, TSM used to find a lot of success in NA off waiting in Baron River. You know, and teams would come in without real reason to, and they would just die. But when you saw them do that at Worlds last year, it just wouldn't work. Not international competition. But sometimes you do need to do stuff like that, things that do seem illogical, and you know, when your opponents are giving you respect, then they won't assume that you'll make those plays, and that's why they'll end up working. But obviously you don't want to do that all the time. You want to find a good balance of when to do it.
So here we have Mighty Bear going for the Mountain Drake. This isn't necessarily a cheesy play. We've seen this happen before, especially because you can just dash the wall. So there you go. Nicely done by Mighty Bear to pick up the first Drake of the game, and it is a Mountain Drake going over to the Rocks Tigers.
Really nice pickup for them. Certainly going to help with any Baron shredding later on. And they do have the triple, or well, they have 4 ranged champions, so that'll also help attacking and bringing down turrets.
Spirit's making his way bot, and there's a control ward in that brush. This bot lane for the Rocks Tigers could be in a bit of trouble. Now keep in mind, still the Stand United is available here from Shy to come on down. But Shy does not have his teleport, so Marin could respond with his teleport. They're waiting for this one. The Wild Growth comes out, but an immediate disengage from the Rocks Tigers. Nice response.
You see Spirit was a little bit desperate right there. As he went in, they did manage to get Songyun's flash and his heal, so it's not the worst. They only committed a Lulu ultimate to do that, so a little bit of a small victory there. Now Marin, though, in a little bit of danger in top. I don't think this dive should work.
They're going to try it, though. Well, kind of half-heartedly, not really. Shy just poking him a little bit.
I don't know why they're committing such an investment up in top lane. You're never really going to kill the Nautilus underneath the tower. Well, Mickey was able to shove in mid lane. You can see Kuro is preoccupied with that. And because Afreeca doesn't have an exact idea of where Mickey is, Marin had to be a little bit respectful.
Okay, Thrill of the Hunt coming in, and it seems like Afreeca may want to get onto this one, but Mighty Bear is able to recall in time. Shy is just fine. Kuro going to make his way down into mid lane once again. Nobola's onto Shy. He's able to taunt over the wall. Still no first blood in this game.
Almost 13 minutes in. Quite a CS deficit, though, down in bottom. A little bit surprised to see Kramer didn't pick up a call. When you know that your team composition is going to be having an explosive mid-game, you're going to be able to complete that right around the time that would be occurring. And so it's a little bit side extra gold that you can pick up for yourself.
He is making his way mid, and uh-oh, Tushin eating a bunch of damage, collateral damage. coming out from the graves, forces the wild growth. But still no kill. Rox coming on over to the blue. Kramer trying to make this a bit harder. It looks like he will, in fact, force Mighty Bear back. Orianna in the mid lane definitely needs that blue buff to keep up with the amount of pushing that Mickey is doing right now. And actually, look at this turret. It's getting quite low. Mighty Bear even rotating in, as they know that Spirit is over by that blue. Really trying to put the pressure on for that first blood turret.
Afreeca's going to need to do something soon if they want to stop this. It looks like Marin might have been wanting to come down mid lane, but opts out of it instead. And this means that mid turret is getting lower and lower with each wave that comes in. And without that blue buff, as you mentioned a second ago, Kuro going to be unable to do anything, and Spirit even has to take it.
Takes it away, and that's just so annoying. At least he does win the smite fight, so at least they keep it on their team. But definitely wanted to give that over to Orianna. I mean, look at this turret. Mickey just pushing this in so well. Kuro's been doing a good job of dodging all the stuns. But eventually that turret's going to go down if Kuro does not get some help in the mid lane. And here comes Marin. He is spotted.
Mickey now backing off. They have perfect vision so far this game for how mid lane is played out. It really has just enabled Mickey to keep playing forward and aggressively.
Here comes Marin. The flash forward, misses the dredge line. And Mickey just strolls out of that one. Doesn't even use his ghost. Spirit even using Thrill of the Hunt. So lots of stuff blown on the side of Afreeca as they're looking for that first blood, but they can't seem to find it.
And with Kuro having to recall right here because he didn't have any mana remaining, we have to wonder if Rox are going to be able to pick up the first blood turret, and it does look like that will be the case. Spirit gets here a little bit too late, and Mickey gets all that first blood gold to himself.
So definitely going to be an abnormal amount of damage coming out from the abnormally high damage Syndra.
Looks like Void Staff might even be the second item that Mickey wants to pick up. He'd only be a few minutes away from getting that as well, as CS this game has been fantastic. Has that first blood turret gold on him. Next dragon of the game coming up in 15 seconds is an Ocean Drake, so not the biggest of victories if either team does happen to capture that. But right now, Afreeca, they can't be feeling so great for a team composition that would have liked to get ahead early game and transition that into an explosive mid game. They haven't really done anything. And so when the mid game does end up breaking out in terms of team fights, Rox should be in a pretty comfortable position to win them handily.
We may have something forming here over towards the Drake. Uh-oh, Kuro in a bit of trouble. Does blow his flash and barrier to survive that one. Now there is going to be a big fight over here at this Drake. And actually, Mighty Bear will pick that up with the smite. Spirit did not have his smite ready. And everyone gets out alive at the same time. So Mighty Bear taking 2 dragons for his team, but here comes the big push onto Mickey. But nothing to come of it, as a nice stun onto Kuro to prevent him from following up.
He did get the ghost out of Mickey, but it's not really too big of a victory when we also consider that with the dragon having just gone down about 30 seconds prior, it means that there's almost no incentive for either team to really look for a team fight at this point. Mickey's going to get handed blue again, and he's just going to continue his barrage of poke onto Kuro in mid, and that demands attention from Spirit. But Afreeca did just unlock their bottom lane. And so now Kramer and Tushin should be free to relieve some of that pressure from Kuro in mid.
Well, here comes Mighty Bear up top. Laying down a bit of damage onto Marin. Following this up, really wants to push him back. Mickey was making his way top too. So Marin is playing way, way back. Has to give up this turret to Rocks. Meanwhile, though, a big push down in bot lane for Afreeca. They're heading on towards this bottom tier 2. And with Spirit nearby, he's going in. Forces that exhaust out. No Deadly Flourish to follow up. And Spirit will get out alive.
Now, Tushin and Kramer backing up.
You see Shy just used his teleport and then canceled it. He was trying to come in behind the other members, but I think they saw Orianna rotating down and they just did not want to go for it. So no teleport here for Shy.
He's not going to need it right now anyway, with the way that the map is. He would be comfortable to actually just go into bottom lane and just use his Stand United to join team fights if it gets to that stage. He has also itemized with Titanic Hydra as his first item. Probably wants to pick up some Ninja Tabbies quite soon. Doesn't really need to hold on to, or well, complete his magic resistance items too early, because he's just basically going to be tanking Rengar and Ezreal.
Look at this. Shy has been waiting in this brush for a long time. They may have assumed that he recalled. He has his flash ready, but you can see how safe Kramer is playing up here. So it seems like he's got a good idea. So nothing comes of it. The Baron is about to spawn. There hasn't been a single kill in this game. No first blood. 20 minutes in.
We're not going home tonight, Brendan. The game's going on for 60 minutes, and then we're going to have a pause.
It's just pretty unbelievable, like, especially with all the opportunity that both of these teams have to grab kills. And the amount of dragon fights. Okay, Mickey's like, no, that's mine, actually.
Speaking of grabbing things.
Yep. You just got to grab him by the red buff. I think a wise man said that one time.
Grab him by the red buff.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yep.
All right.
Big rotation as everybody on Rocks is moving down towards the bottom tier 1. Seems like that's potentially their next objective. Although they hang towards mid if they can land the stun on Takuro. No dice. It's been pretty good about dodging all of that.
21 minutes in. The next dragon of the game is yet another Ocean Drake, so Summoner's Rift Gods are not too happy with either of these teams. Curtain call, though, we're finally going to get some action.
Kramer, I think he's in a bit of trouble. There is the flash taunt. Wild Growth, it's not going to matter. Collateral damage comes out. First blood goes over to Graves.
Nice pickup for the Rocks Tigers, and with the position of that wave up in top lane, they're in a really good spot to draw attention up to top and pull Afreeca away from mid and bottom. Should even be able to actually get this turret here. Remember, they have the Mountain Drake.
Oh, big shockwave. Mickey getting quite low in the back. He's forced to flash away. Zyra ultimate comes out to get everybody out of that fight and just disengage. That's a turret going over to Rocks Tigers there, a tier 2 up in top lane.
Now Rocks are backing up, they're recalling. You see pings actually going down onto Ocean Drake, and certainly don't want to let a team get 2 of them for free. That regeneration can actually be influential to Baron dances later down the line. Let's take another quick look at this replay. You see the Stand United actually comes in onto Mighty Bear, and it enabled Shy to get into position onto Kramer. The curtain call damage coming out, doing a lot, and that lets them pick up the first blood. And now Afreeca in position to actually get the Ocean Drake, but if a team fight were to break out right now, yes, Shy doesn't have the Stand United. He does have his teleport, but Afreeca
trying to go for this one, and he gets it! Wins the smite fight against Spirit. And he will be forced to flash here. He goes for it pretty late, but they actually bait Spirit in. Mighty Bear will pay for it with his life. Nice true shot barrage out of Kramer to make the best of that situation.
And the only reason that that just happened is Mighty Bear was waiting for his quick draw to come back up so he could have conserved his flash, but because he wasn't able to get it up in time, he waited a little bit too long, took too much damage, and it was a really nice snipe by Kramer right at the end.
The push continues, getting half the turret damage in mid. The Rocks Tigers look like the dominant team tonight. Wasn't expecting this. As I said before, Afreeca definitely needs these wins.
We'll see this. Mighty Bear hops over the wall, gets the smite, and then he's trying to wait for a Z. He doesn't quite get it. You see auto attack Spirit trying to reduce that cooldown, and then Kramer finally picks him up. Meanwhile, in live, we are having a team fight.
No lock up there with the Deadly Flourish, but here comes the curtain call. Kramer will get taunted, and that's going to be another death for him. Even on that slippery Ezreal, that's the second time he's got caught.
Now Rocks could consider a Baron, but looks like they're all choosing to recall instead. They don't want to potentially just throw away the lead right now. They know that they're in a very good spot. Afreeca really needs to figure out some way to come up with an answer. And it's probably going to be via some sort of a Rengar pick, but if things keep going the way that they are, things don't look so great. So you see the replay here. Marin ends up getting the turret, but he almost pays for it with his life, and you can see Kramer almost able to get in there, dish out a ton of damage onto Songyun and Mickey, but eventually gets locked up by Shy. The curtain call helping aid with some damage right there. Gold lead now about 3,000 in favor of Rocks Tigers. Mickey stealing yet another red buff. And it actually does go over to Songyun, so that's the best target for it. This is what we came for, Brendan, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Delicious. Well, hey. We need a little bit more of that. This observer doesn't know. He doesn't get it. Our desires are a little bit unconventional, but...
True.
50 depths of gray down here. Here we go. Here we go, Brendan.
Give it to us, Marin. At least these guys have items that they can use to fight. That tank Echo from the other game. Yeah. Not the best. Either way, Tushin is going to be slowed up, forced to flash. Can he dodge the fourth shot? Yes, just barely. Whimsy helping out, but they are going to transition into a big push mid, and there's no one here to defend except, I guess, Ezreal, but that's shouldn't be enough eventually, although they do clear out the wave with the true shot barrage.
Managed to hold on to their turret for... Oh, this is it. God, they're teasing us. That's what's going on. Oh.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go, here we go.
Great.
Just let it happen. They're good at this.
Afreeca's trying to get in on the fun. Oh, nice dredge line, and Shy might be in a bit of trouble. Still has his flash. There it comes. Depth charge coming in, though, and with how much mobility Kramer has on the Ezreal, can he get on top of it? He air king shifts forward and lands another Mystic shot. Will pick up a kill, making up for a couple of his deaths that he got earlier on. Meanwhile, Spirit in a bit of trouble, does get out. Shockwave burned.
So while they did manage to pick themselves up a kill and they did put it onto Kramer, some stuff did go awry in mid lane. Dragon coming up in a minute, or a little bit over a minute. It's a Mountain Drake, so you know that both teams are going to be very interested in capturing that. Looks like Afreeca might actually be able to get a decent chunk of turret. Actually, Marin should be able to get the turret with that Iceborne Gauntlet. Yeah, no one's going to be able to defend that. So this is going to be actually a very nice pickup for Afreeca. And it's all off the back of that kill onto Shy.
Yeah, it's really huge. They did pick up that turret. Two-shot barrage went down on blue. Okay, I thought maybe he would have stolen it, but it's not even respawned yet. So.
And so now Marin recalling before the upcoming Dragon team fight. Songyun pushing out the wave and Mickey gonna shove in mid lane, and they're doing this to make sure that both mid and bottom lane are dark when the Dragon spawns. So even if the team fight goes bad or if there's a stalemate, there's nothing else that Afreeca can use to really skew the Rox Tigers.
Oh, here we go. Marin coming in. And Thrill of the Hunt used. They are on the chase. But with that mid-tier 1 still available, everybody from Rox gets back to safety. The question is, do they open up enough room to get this Mountain Drake? Meanwhile, everybody on Rox Tigers is going right for the Baron. Immediately, Afreeca is going to bring everybody but Ezreal. And now, it looks like actually Kramer is going to stay to finish that Mountain Drake. And he might be a little bit slow. He didn't even finish that Mountain Drake. Here comes the True Shot Barrage. A little bit early. Does a bit of damage. Can they get in there and steal it? No! Shen able to pick it up. Kuro disappears. And all of a sudden, everybody on Afreeca is running away. Depth Charge comes out, but Marin can't stick around. There's not enough damage. That's 2 kills right now. They might be able to pick up another one. A taunt onto Tushin. They make that 3. 3 kills, and the Baron goes to the Rox Tigers.
Yeah, and a little bit of indecisiveness from Kramer and Afreeca as a whole leads to this game getting blown wide open. And now with every lane being pretty good for Rox, they're definitely going to try to pick up an inhibitor here. Should be able to do it. They have that Mountain Drake and the Baron minions.
Yeah, should be at least 1 inhibitor. And look at that damage that Mickey is doing. Even to Marin, the tankiest guy on Afreeca's lineup, he just cannot stick around. That's at least 1 inhibitor. They're going for a second one. Close stun there on Kramer. Looks like they're just going to go for the turret and back off.
The game just got completely flipped upside down. They're going to Baron Enhanced Recall, run to that Mountain Drake. You can see Spirit already pathing his way down there. Kuro probably asking himself if he can finally have a blue buff. And here's the team fight that unfolds, and we can see the Baron ends up going down to Shy. Spirit wasn't even in range for a smite anyway, but team fight breaks out, and Afreeca just doesn't quite have the ammo, and they're so reliant on their combos that when they don't have it inside of a scattered fight, a 3v3 or anything, just not going to really go that great. And now when we come back to live, Rox are actually the ones that are in position for the Drake.
I have to say, this kind of looks like the Afreeca that we saw early on in the split, where they just did not look like a team that had played a lot together. They looked kind of discombobulated, not really all on the same page. And we saw what was happening at the Mountain Drake, where everybody's leaving but kind of slow, and then Kramer sticks around alone. They're like, oh, we'll just leave you here alone. And maybe you could take it out and then we can stop the Baron too. No, of course that's not going to happen. And Rox, they're having a great game. They're taking very much advantage of the so far not so solid game of Afreeca. And as I said before, Afreeca, they need these wins. They can't afford to give away indicator points or just wins in series even. They're going to lock up Mickey here with that Zonius. He will stand around for a long time. Down he does go, though. Shockwave. Marin getting a bit low. Shy able to save Songyun, but double kill going over to Kramer. Afreeca, they're getting angry. They want some revenge here. Kramer wants to carry the team on his back. Huge. Can he do it? He will be able to pick up another kill. Oh, is he done there? Is he done yet? Key on the run too, trying to use that Baron Enhanced Recall, but a ward to spot him.
He's trying to tell this bear winter's over. Kramer's hunting down Mighty Bear.
Finally let him go. Poor Key. Doesn't even have level 2 boots.
Well, and suddenly Afreeca with a really well-coordinated fight. They lost the inhibitor, but they turned everything around. So here, welcome to Toontown.
Pretty much, man. This
in LCK Spring. We'll take another look at Toon World right here. So right here, Mickey basically just gets completely womboed, and this is what they needed way earlier on. The Zanyas does stall a little bit. The ultimate Stand United came out onto Songyun because Shy wants to make sure that he can get into this fight. Kramer, though, as I mentioned earlier, he's able to get into the backline, and he's so slippery that you can't really hold him down. And so if your front line gets deleted, or if they manage to get into you, you're not really going to have a way to constantly peel and then handle the Ezreal in extended trade. So now Rocks are going to have to reset a little bit, let the super minions do work, and then take the game a little bit slow. They can't get caught out like that, or Afreeca does still have a legitimate chance of winning team fights and getting back in this game.
Yeah, very true. They do have a chance. Now, Rocks Tigers are still ahead by about 5,000 gold, but some plays could definitely bring Afreeca back into this one. The teleport coming on in. He's going to run right into Shy. Good response here from Rocks. Shy just trying to lock up Marin, not allow him to get close to his teammates. So teleport and thrill of the hunt used, and no kills for Afreeca.
Well, Spirit's ultimate is a pretty vital part to their engage. And so without it, they're going to be definitely hard-pressed to find a way in onto Mickey or Songyun. And with Shy actually present here at the fight, it's going to be even more difficult.
Look at this. Marin's looking to come from behind. He is spotted immediately. The depth charge onto Key. Kind of a funny target there. Can they even lock him up? No, Marin is getting burst down in the front. Forced to back off. Oh, nice shockwave though. Mickey getting quite low. Here's the curtain call. Spirit on the run. Fourth shot is going to hit him. Does have that Guardian Angel still. Deadly Flourish not going to do it, but look at the base. Look at how many super minions are coming in there. That's easily going to be at least the tier 2 turret here as Rocks pushes onto the third inhibitor turret.
Definitely going to be able to raise this so quickly. Double Mountain Drake. Now, interestingly, this is actually the part where the Double Ocean does come into effect. And Kramer, he's trying to do his best to dish out as much damage and try to look for a fight, but can't quite do it. He's not a one-man army, although he's tried to be so far this game. And now Baron coming up in just under a minute, and then after that is going to be Elder Drake. So there's still 2 potential decisive fights remaining in this game. The inhibitors are going to spawn again for Afreeca, which, fortunately for them, they needed at this point. However, with only 1 Nexus turret remaining, bottom lane can't be ignored, and Marin doesn't have teleport.
Definitely stuck in a rough spot right now is Afreeca. Kramer looking to put the team on his back. Red buff would definitely help with that. Spirit's like, no, it's mine. Sorry. Not going to allow you to carry this one. Stun landed onto Marin. And actually, look at the amount of damage that comes out onto Mickey. Depth charge, too. He's going to be out of this one for a bit. Spirit looking to come in from the left side. Looking to jump in onto Mighty Bear. There's the shockwave. Stand United comes out onto Mighty Bear. He stays alive, as does everyone else on Rocks. Here comes the curtain call. Marin should be able to block all of these. Looks like Spirit's going to eat a bunch of them, but a bunch of low members on Rocks. But Afreeca eating some damage as they move over towards Baron.
An Ocean Drake, though, that they have, that is going to actually start ticking.
Yeah, the double Ocean Drake. And this is kind of a weird spot. So much damage coming out. Shy from the right side. Mighty Bear picks up the kill and the dragon, or rather the Baron. Spirit has to flash away, but now everybody on Afreeca is on the run. And that could just be game here. Shy looking to teleport towards bottom lane, and a huge play by Mighty Bear again.
Mighty Bear coming up big for the Rocks Tigers in this game multiple times with huge smite fight victories over Spirit. Now Kramer casts a true shot barrage. Shy taunting him a little bit. Now they're going to get the Nexus, but Kramer He almost actually managed to kill Songyun, so actually the joke's on him.
Yeah, very, very close. It's going to be game one going over to the Rocks. Tigers extremely happy. Everyone in that booth is, and quite a nice game that they played.
Rocks Tigers definitely a lot cleaner than Afreeca in this game, and the real problem came from the deficit in mid demanded so much attention, and the amount of pressure that Mickey was able to create with the assistance of Mighty Bear's roots early on just made it so that Afreeca could never really stabilize at the specific part of the game where they needed to, and then follow that up with two of the worst macro calls I've seen in LCK Spring, and it ends up leading to this result. And that Baron call right at the very end as well was just very bizarre, because you can't assume to burst that down, and when you factor in the Ocean Drakes and the fact that the enemy team is right there, I can't know what they were hoping to accomplish.
Right there and like poking them as they're running to the Baron. They're very much aware that they're moving towards the Baron. So one last look at the fight.
Yeah, and you can see even before the actual fight takes place, just the HP value for both of the teams is just so bad. And when Afreeca, when you consider that, again, they're combo reliant and they don't have the spells that they need or the summoners, nothing is ever going to go well here. And let's say that they get forced out of Baron. Let's say they get the Baron. They can't actually make it out alive at that point.
Yeah, a bit of a desperate play there. You can see just a pretty messy game from Afreeca. We'll see if they can turn it around going into game two. Guys, we're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back with the analyst desk in between games.